A brand new program debuts later today, noon Eastern. Lunch Talk Live with Mike Tirico. And right out of the gates, man, he's not wasting any time. Mike Krzyzewski, the Duke head coach, Russell Wilson, Seahawks quarterback Chris Collinsworth from Sunday Night Football, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. And joining us now to talk about that and other things, our good friend, host of Football Night in America and pretty much everything else at NBC, it's Mike Tirico. Hello, Mike. How are you?
Hello, guys. Good morning. It's good watching you here this morning. Good to be with you as well. Yeah, we're all sitting around in this self-isolation, so we might as well all talk with each other. Figure we were all putting our heads together. This will be an hour distraction, if you will, from the important stuff that's happening elsewhere down the dial. Obviously, all the news information takes precedence. But we're using sports as an escape, which is what we usually do with sports. So if we can get some folks up and talk sports, and you guys will be on along the way here, just spend an hour doing that, get people a little respite from what's going on. Maybe we can be a little bit of service in this difficult time.
And, Mike, that's such an important point, and we make that point every day. Because I think people can only take so much of it, right? They can only take so much of the news. They can only take so much of the gloom. We're human beings. We have to have some balance, and that's what we're trying to do. And it's good that you're going to be on for an hour a day at lunchtime to help people with that balance.
We try to do that. You know, the Syracuse University basketball team is very close and dear to my heart as an alum. Saturday night, one of the networks re-aired the 2003 game where Syracuse won the national championship. A bunch of the players and the coaches got on a Zoom call. It was put on Facebook Live. There were 4,000 people watching, and it was just an escape. And really, in the middle of it, I forgot everything else that was going on. And that's what this is the purpose of our roles, of sports, and of reality right now. How can we find these little windows to just let our minds escape from, what's really for most of us the toughest thing, certainly as a society, we've dealt with in our lifetimes. And for a lot of folks who are 70, 80 years old, they said they've never been through anything like this. So we'll try to do our part. We'll have some fun. We'll talk sports, and we'll continue to keep folks updated on when we might see sports again. As you guys were talking today, we really have no idea the realities of how far this is going to go into the summer and impact the fall.
Mike, I mean, what have you been doing in your free time? I mean, this time of the year, you'd normally be getting ready for the Kentucky Derby and a lot of other sporting events. And I know you're Mr. Particular, detailed preparation. That's what you do. Like, give us an inside look to the Tirico household during these weird times.
Well, my thumbs are very strong. I keep waiting for you to update the next draft profile that you have on your computer.
You're funny.
That's what really is keeping me going hour to hour, Simms. Yeah, no, seriously, but that stuff helps. It all helps. We were down in Florida after the golf tournament we were covering. The Players' Championship ended a couple of weeks ago, so we did self-isolation down there. Then I've come back up to where we live in Michigan, and we're just all like everyone else. We're hunkered down. We're settled in. One big food shopping in for the week, and have all the kids under one roof and all that fun stuff. But we've been doing a lot of stuff with the beginnings and the ends for these Football Week in America games that aired last week. Doing some stuff with the Olympians a couple of weeks ago when the Olympics were postponed. So certainly it's been busier than I would have thought, but it's not what we normally do or the things we typically do. So just trying to find ways to stay sane, stay prepared. Read some more books. Those books, that whole big shelf of books back behind me that I never get to. I'm actually getting to some of those. So just trying to enjoy life and take some long walks and appreciate the good things we have. And honestly, I think that's part of doing this show. A lot of the people who you watch, who cover sports and who are in the sports arena, are in exactly the same boat as a lot of the folks at home. So we can share some of that, then maybe everybody will feel a little bit less isolated.
And, Mike, the NFL has tried its best to trudge ahead during these uncertain times. Free agency opened as usual. The draft is going to happen as scheduled. But today is the day that there's really an impact for the first time on the NFL. Offseason programs were supposed to open for the teams with new coaches. I don't think there's going to be any offseason programs for anyone. How do you think that's going to impact the preparation for a season that is still up in the air? But let's assume there is a season, no offseason program. That's going to have a huge effect on what we ultimately see in the fall.
Yeah, Mike, every time we think about something else, there's one more layer of this onion we continue to unpeel. You just brought it up with Chris a couple of segments ago about the reality of these draft-related trades, and without physicals, will they be approved, and will those picks be taken by those teams when the draft happens in 3 weeks or so? One I was thinking after reading Peter King's column earlier this morning was, how many teams have new offenses that are impacted by a change. What's those change? What are those changes? A head coach, an offensive coordinator, and a quarterback who's new. Well, I did a quick count. At least 15 teams I found in one of those three categories: new head coach, new OC, new QB. We'll probably add a couple of more at the draft. So you're talking half the league. If there's anything that changes in the league, it's the intricacies of a new offense, a new play caller, a new quarterback, and everybody getting on the same page. And those are reps and time that nobody's going to have. So I think whenever we get to a season, and trust us, this is all the way down at the bottom of the list of important things right now, but whenever we get down there, that's going to be a significant hindrance. You look at a team like Philly, they're going to be the only team in their division coming back with that nucleus and offense together. They may be at a bit of an offensive advantage when they get going compared to other teams. It's going to be so fascinating to see how that plays out. We only hope that we can have those conversations here in the next 2 or 3 months.
Mike, are you in the same category as me and Florio, where we're, again, we know times are tough, but we want to see the draft because we don't think there's enough out there for the public to kind of get their heads away from the bad news out there right now? Kind of what's your thoughts on the NFL kind of going forward with business as usual?
Yeah, Chris, I've gone back and forth. I didn't feel that connection to free agency that I normally do, because you're so focused on it while other stuff is going on. But with the severity and the heaviness of the news, I couldn't really get dialed into a lot of those moves, emotionally at least. As it's gone on, I think it's taken a place of some of our attention and time. And when you do think about it from a long-range planning standpoint, and that is something that I think we've all realized we all need to be better at in the long run. If you plan to have a season in September and a normal NFL season, and fingers crossed, let's hope we can get there, then you need to do all these steps along the way when they've done them. Free agency, the draft, and all of that. I know we don't have OTAs, but at least, like you said, it's gotten us away from a little bit of the news. It's given us something to think about. And the other piece of that is, if you're going to get to a place where we can open training camps in August, then you needed to do all these steps along the way. So if it's insensitive to some, understandable, but this might be the right thing to do.
Well, and one way that I've balanced it, Mike, yes, there are tens, if not hundreds of thousands who are physically affected by the virus, but on the other hand, there are millions who may be suffering the psychological effects of being cooped up, having nothing to do, and this gives people something to look forward to and something to fully engage in for 3 days coming up later this month. All right, we look forward to every weekday, noon Eastern, Lunch Talk Live with Mike Tirico starts today. Mike, thanks for your time. Chris, the hell with you.
You're the man, Mike.
On
Screw
Tuesday.
you, Florio.
Everybody have a great day. See you tomorrow.
See you guys.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.